My biggest issue as a climate change communicator is that people just they're not getting the message in a way that's affecting them on an emotional level. And he had this idea that using the art form of the string quartet, that he could find a way to touch people, to really feel the import of what we're facing.
You read through the work, and we listened to some of Rob's talk, which he was still writing, and Rebecca showed a lot of her paintings, and we began to think about the best way to synthesize everything and to give every piece of the whole its pride of place.
We tinkered with having poetry read and a dancer. We looked at it kind of from all angles before we found this transition, which I think works quite beautifully.
There are a lot of issues that can spring up, I think, with interdisciplinary work. First of all, how do you combine things in a way which makes sense? And we've wrestled with that over and over and over again. How do you combine science and art in a way which doesn't feel like they're side by side? And that's going to come up, I think, with regardless of what disciplines are being combined.
There's very simplistic way, and I've certainly embraced that many times, of just putting things side by side and hoping that there will be connections to it. But I think you're right that when we start to blend those things at a much deeper level, it's rewarding, and it's also very challenging because we are creating this new kind of paradigm.
The music wasn't background to the images weren't decoration for Rob's talking when there wasn't scientific data up there, that everything had to have its moment where it existed as its content in its pure form, yet it all had to be woven together in a way that felt very organic.
If you want a real collaboration, if you want, I wasn't just hiring a quartet and hiring a composer and hiring some people to do my thing. What you really want is their brains working on it. But if they're going to invest that, then you've got to really, as Laura, I think, very eloquently said, give their art form the space.
My hope is that when it's performed just in a concert setting and there's a program note, people understand the motivation for my having written it, but my sense is that they're not going to go out and sign up for a political action group against fracking. Mm-hmm. Doubtful. Hearing it in the context of Crossroads Project, they might. So I want the piece to work both ways, and I hope the message comes through both ways, but I think in the context of Crossroads, it has the potential to serve as artist-activist endeavor.